Hello, everybody. Got another interesting news to talk about. I know everybody remember the original classic Ninja Turtles movies, the first three. Well, the first two for me. Me being Ninja Turtles fan, I was a big fan of the animated series. Loved the animated series and loved the movies, the first two movies. The third one was, so that was a mess. But they actually want to do a follow up to the original trilogy, so that's very interesting. So let me read this thing real quick from the original people that helped make the original movie. So now I'm talking about my thoughts about it. So it's a Bobby Herbeck, writer of the original 1990s Ninja Turtles movie, and producer Kim Dawson are looking to do a true sequel to the original trilogy. According to comic book, Herbeck has been in talks with Steve Barron, director of the first film, as well as Brian Henson, son of the late Jim Henson, on the subject. When asked directly if they want to make a sequel, Herbeck replied, this is his reply. I'm going to read to you a little bit. Yes, the answer is yes. We're trying to make that happen. We want to do a reboot. We got our fans come to us on Instagram there. Why don't you guys do a reboot of the first movie? We love to do it. The truth is this property is established now after 30 years as part of our modern pop culture. It's not going away. It's only going to continue to grow. I do wish that we could go back. I mean, we've talked to Steve Barron about this and Brian Henson, and if they're willing to, if there were an opportunity, if one of the studios saw fit, I think we could go back and reboot it like it was. Imagine if Brian Henson had access to the technology he does today to make these costumes and all that. I think it would be amazing. A reboot like that, I think, would really get people's juices flowing. Something. As much as I love the original one, I think I'll be interested in seeing this because I know I was a big, even the original one. I'm a big fan of the remakes. The one Michael Bay did. I really like those movies. I really enjoy those. I've had my only gripes I had with part two mostly was the way they did Shredder. I didn't care for the way they did Shredder. They changed the actor, and they kind of toned him down. He didn't really do much in the movie. Kind of made him weak. He was hardly in his suit until like the end of the movie. They finally showed his helmet. I do like the reason why I like part two so much. They finally had a live action Bebop, well, CGI Bebop and Rocksteady. We finally got Bebop and Rocksteady in the movie, so I was glad about that instead of Tokar and Razor from part two. I do like Tokar and Razor. I didn't care for Megan Fox as April O'Neil. I think he could have casted somebody better. And Casey Jones I had a little gripe with too because I think Stephen Amell did an okay job. He was hardly in his Casey Jones costume. He didn't really have the mask, but like one or two scenes, the hockey mask. So he didn't really do much in the movie, like as Casey Jones. He was just technically just out of costume. He didn't have none of the costume at all throughout the whole movie. He had the hockey stick and everything, but everything other than that. I had my rants about that. How they could have continued. I wish they could have continued with those. What they could do with Baxter Stockman. They had Tyler Perry portraying him. I wanted to see what they do more with his character. What they could do with Krang. That was the other big thing. They also had live action Krang. That's another reason why I like part two so much because they introduced Krang in the movies. So the original ones they haven't did that yet. But I know back then I think it was planning on doing more. I think, and they had the animated one they had in the early 2000s Tmnt. I think I've seen a little bit. I have never finished it. I think I fell asleep on it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't finish it. I do gotta watch those, but some people were saying that was kind of like a follow up to the original one. I think they said. I'm not really sure, but they talking about coming back and using if they can want to use the practical suits. I mean, the suits instead of the CGI turtles. If they can do it right, I'd be interested in seeing this. What I would do. I know they want to continue the trilogy, but what I would do, I would continue from part two because since part three was so bad, do a Halloween. Halloween had all the other sequels that were bad. I mean, some movies sequels were okay, but they had that horrible Thorn saga, which I hate. They ignore all those sequels and just continue from part one. To me, you should continue from part two because I love the first two movies. I love Super Shredder in part two. Even Vanilla Ice, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. I love that scene. I love that. That's still to this day. I still enjoy that part in that movie when they fight in the club. I love that scene. But they didn't do much with Super Shredder. Maybe they can bring Shredder back. I don't know if that's sure they're gonna bring the original actor that played him. Everybody, I think to this point, everybody's too old. Because in the original one we had Casey Jones. I think Elias Koteas, he was a better Casey Jones. I don't know if he's even willing to come back. Because some of these actors are older now. They might not want to do this. Shoot, man, Ernie Reyes Jr. I can see him come back as Keno. Ernie Reyes Jr. He probably would come back to this movie if this takes place years later. They might want to continue from there, some kind of way, and make it look like it's still back then in the '90s. But and then April O'Neil was the second April O'Neil was Paige Torco, because it was another April O'Neil in the first movie. She didn't come back on part 2, but would she want to come back to this? But the thing about it is, if they do this, I wouldn't mind seeing the suits. If they make this, because the suits look great in the first 2 movies. They look really good. I think they did a great job with the practical effects. It was just suits. It wasn't CGI. You know, they gotta make everything CGI now, which I don't agree. You don't have to do that. Even with the horror movies, you should keep that practical effects. That's why I like the slasher movies, like Halloween and all that. Freddy. Well, Freddy they used a little bit of CGI, but they had to with him. Jason too. But I would be interested in seeing this. I mean, depending on what they can do, if they can introduce Baxter Stockman, Baxter Stockman, Rat King, make them all live action. Bring Bebop and Rocksteady in there, make them live action. They have the practical suits too. As long as it look right, I wouldn't mind seeing it. And whatever they do with the story, I would be interested in seeing that too. I don't have my gripes about, like I said before, the reboots. I wish it could continue from that, but I'm willing to take this. If they ever do it, this is just talks right now, because they said they would like to do it. But I wouldn't mind seeing that. Like I said before, I'm a big fan of Ninja Turtles. But if they ever do Krang, if they do this, how would Krang look? If it's practical effects, I don't know. But we'll see, guys. Right now, it's just talk. It's just talk right now. So, but I'll be interested in seeing, which I think what they will do. I don't think they're gonna bring the original actors back. They might have new, fresh faces in this one, like they did with that Superman Returns movie. I didn't really care for the Bryan Singer ones. I know that takes place after after part 2, and they had different casts. Even Lex Luthor was different, and Lois Lane was different too. It wasn't the same actors, so they probably will do that if they do this movie. They probably will do that, but we'll see. I'll be interested in seeing what they do with this. And they introduce new characters and bring Super Shredder back. I wouldn't mind seeing Super Shredder, since he was hardly in the second movie. He's like the last 5 minutes. So we'll see, guys. But what I think we're gonna do, I think they're gonna bring fresh faces in this movie too. Like I said before, I think they should continue from part 2, because a lot of people didn't like part 3, including me. I mean, I liked it then, but watching it now, I don't think to me it should continue from part 2. But if you want to continue from part 3, that's fine. They can do it right. If it makes any sense. And like I said before, I like the way Splinter looked also. He looked great in the old movies too. His suit and everything looked good. Actually looked like a rat. So I know they said they don't want to use CGI. I understand. I know a lot of people don't like CGI. Some people don't like too much CGI in their movies. They want to use practical effects. If it looks right, then I think it would work. So if they ever do this, I'm willing to give it a chance. I wonder, will this be in a theater? I'm quite sure it will be, because, like I said before, the original has its fans, including me. Depending on how it looks, I would be willing to check this movie out. So we'll see, guys. It's just talks right now. This may not ever happen. Yeah, so that's just my thoughts, guys. There's no interesting story there. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that thumbs up, notification bell every time I post a new video. You should see it. Hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.